Ask and you shall receive. Since you guys played to my ego earlier and told me you liked these videos, here you go. Also, look, it's Eric.
Hi.
I told you I'd give him a cameo. Whee! Okay, so a couple of reminders, but I'm going to also kind of sprinkle in a quick kind of content mini lecture, like hyper mini lecture. I don't think I'm going to give you too much for tomorrow. We're going to spread out colonization all week, so you have just little tiny chunks to read. Get creative with your annotations if you need to. If you're really desperate for a printout, I can try to mail one to you. So keep me posted if you need that. A couple of things to remember as we go into colonization specifically. Number one, you know this because you read Things Fall Apart. So you have the content you already know from that book. So draw on that to help you. But do remember that Things Fall Apart was African colonization specifically, and the world had been being colonized for long before Africa gets colonized. Africa is actually the last region of the world to get colonized along with Asia, which is what your chapter of this book is on. But the Americas had long since been colonized in the 15 and 1600s. And you have to remember that colonization is different in every part of the world. And it's not always super violent to begin with, but it's very violent by nature, right? It's you have to violently overtake a people to take over all their resources. Remember that colonization takes over things like government, education, culture, which includes like food, language, dress, music, things like that. It takes over the economy, it takes over everything. It completely changes every nook and cranny of a civilization, right? And if you'll recall, we're going to talk a little bit about this as the week goes on. The concept of the white man's burden was that white Europe and white America very much felt compelled to civilize the world and to bring their way of life to savage people, right? So colonization is a very strange thing. Remember, Trevor Noah did that funny skit that we watched in English last semester, if you were in that class with me. So use Things Fall Apart as a reference. Remember that this spans centuries and continents, and it runs alongside other historical time periods like the Age of Exploration, the Columbian Exchange, the Scientific Revolution, the Enlightenment, the Industrial Revolution, and the slave trade. So like in the centuries of exploration, all of those other things are happening and stacking on top of it, and in some cases exacerbating or making worse the desire for colonization. For example, we're going to see in this chapter how industry, it creates kind of this vicious feedback loop for the desire to colonize, which also is then tied into the height of the slave trade. So keep those things in mind. Industry certainly fuels it, I think. And then also when, like we in a couple of chapters prior had seen some other colonies like America, like Haiti, some Latin American revolutions happened that forcibly decolonized the region, right? So when the Americas, or when the United States of America becomes a country, it forces Britain out, right? So then Britain, okay, like, well, they still need a place to colonize. They need goods, they need money, they want free labor. So where do they go, right? So then they turn their sights to Africa. And we're going to watch a crash course from John Green that explains why it took so long for Africa to get colonized and then why eventually it succumbs or gives in to colonization. So we're going to watch that today. I think you've seen a chunk of it actually from English class, but it's a good refresher. So watch it again. I'm going to have you take notes on it. And then everything else will be outlined in plan book and then sprinkled throughout the week. I'm going to try to populate the lesson for the week, probably Tuesday. So that way everything is laid out for the week. And I will definitely give you extended due dates. Remember what we talked about today in the class meeting. If you weren't there for the class meeting, it's posted on plan book. So you could watch it before maybe you get started on the content so you kind of know what's going on going into the week. and have a good week. And I will talk to you guys soon. We're going to do another community circle on Friday for sure and a class meet on Friday. So I'll see you guys then. Say bye.